Listener discretion advised. Fuck it, free speech, motherfucker!
Podcast presents information based on theory and conjecture. Creator's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones to the mysteries we will examine. Remember, everything that you hear from this podcast comes from sources on the internet, and remember, if it's on the internet, it should be taken with a grain of salt and judge it by your own discretion.
Something wrong with the world, the perception led you to research and ask questions, and those questions led you to answers which led you here, to this small pocket dimension in the dark corner of the multiverse. Welcome to the Of Dark Matters podcast, where we discuss topics of the occult, conspiracy, paranormal, and world news. And now, your hosts, MoJoe the Mad and Dr.Clutch.
Yes, welcome. There's a place that exists somewhere between fact and fiction, between the known world and the shadows that linger just beyond the edge of our understanding. A place where forgotten histories whisper, where strange encounters become legends, and where the questions we fear asking may lead us to answers where we never were prepared to find out. You have entered Of Dark Matters podcast. And on this episode, we welcome a man who has spent decades exploring the crossroads where psychology, music, history, and the paranormal collide. Maxim Furek. Yes, audience. Yes. A researcher, author, investigator of unexplained, Maxim Furek traveled through the darker corridors of human experience, from addiction psychology and rock journalism to encounters with some of the most mysterious cases in paranormal history. His journey has brought him face to face with legendary figures, including demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, White Witch Dr. Frederick Lamonte Santee, and Annabelle handler Dan Rivera. His work has been featured alongside some of the most recognized voices in the strange and unusual, including Coast to Coast with George Noory, Exploring the Bizarre with Timothy Green Beckley, and Tim R. Swartz, Art Bell's Midnight in the Desert, and with Heather Wade. Tonight we explore the mysteries that have fascinated him for years. The strange world of Richard Sharpe Shaver, the mysteries behind flying saucers and altered states of reality, the legends of Bigfoot and cryptid encounters, and haunted history of Pennsylvania's coal regions. This thin line between folklore and belief, and the possibility that something else is watching from the darkness. Maxim Furek is the author of numerous works, including The Smurl Haunting, When Ed and Lorraine Came to Town, Paranormal Apocalypse, Is This How It Ends?, Coal Region Hoodoo, Paranormal Tales from Inside the Pit, The Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, Shepton, The Myth, Miracle, and Music, and Flying Saucer Esoteric, The Altered States of Ufology. So dim the lights, question the impossible, and prepare to step beyond the ordinary. We welcome Welcome to the Of Dark Matters podcast. I am MoJoe the Mad. Yes, I am. We are waiting for Clutch. Clutch might show up. We don't know. Something happened. And this is a great honor to have. Settle down. Maxim Furek right here with us. Welcome, Maxim. How you doing?
MoJoe, thanks so much. Right on. I love that intro. That was pretty wild.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have your videos down. I mean, you guys do a really good job with the Of Dark Matters. So thank you so much.
Well, just a little love that I've also shown you with animating your books, my friend. Yes.
I am most appreciative. Yep.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I've been going to be animating another book of his, The Paranormal Apocalypse, right, which is coming soon. And I just did the Lost Tribes of Bigfoot, and just showed you some of the early preliminary videos, and I hope you enjoyed them.
I did. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with your expertise. You're a real techie, so thanks for doing that. Yeah.
Well, just love to do what I do. I like making magic.
Yeah.
So
and that's
tell us a little bit. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's what it is. It's creative magic. It's imagination. It's I think what we do here in the paranormal realm. We just run with it and try to figure out what's around the corner. So, it's all about imagination and creativity, and just trying to figure it out. So yeah, this is great.
Consciousness too, and how it interacts with the strangeness. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. And I have a crazy theory. It's not very deep, but my theory is everything, and it doesn't matter if it's the spiritual, the supernatural, or the scientific. It's all the same frequency, the same vibration, that same massive energy, and they all intertwine and interconnect, and that's what the paranormal is. It has a whole lot of different elements, and we're just trying to figure out what it is. How big it is, how wide, how deep, how long, all that stuff. So and it doesn't matter if it's cryptids or UFOs or demons, whatever. It's all all pretty much the same, coming from the same portal, the same realm, I believe. But you could argue that point, but that's what I think. But I as far as my beginning, I'm a former drug and alcohol counselor. I was in charge of a drug and alcohol program, and I have a great interest, a great passion for addictions and recovery. And I talked about everything is everything. One interesting thing that I found out, I talked to numerous people who were in recovery after years and maybe decades of being addicted to either alcohol or heroin or methamphetamine. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. The effects are all the same. And I would ask these people in recovery, how did you stop using your drug? Because heroin and alcohol, and cocaine, they're all powerful drugs. And so many of these folks said, I don't know how I stopped. It was a miracle. And what I mean is, it wasn't that, we talk about hitting bottom, and by hitting bottom, you lose your job, you lose your girlfriend, your wife, they pull your phone, they kick you out of your house, you don't have you're sleeping in your car. I mean, people hit bottom, and drug addicts still continue to use despite hitting bottom. But some of them, they figure it out, and they realize that they just can't drink or use anymore. And it's really a miracle that they just have that aha moment and they stop. And that's another example of, I think, of the paranormal being in everything. The paranormal resides in addictions and recovery, and the wonders of recovery. So, that's my personal my belief and my experience.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I had my own struggles with that kind of stuff early on in my life, but mine had to do with lack of sleep.
Okay.
And so when I wasn't sleeping from the age about 9 to about 39, they did a sleep study on me. I woke up 145 times in 1 hour, and so my emotions were limited. And then I also had weird paranormal experiences too.
Okay.
But when I got good sleep, then they continued. So you think it was, you could say he wasn't sleeping, he was seeing stuff, like he was doing drugs, whatever. I was doing drugs to cover up for the amount of stuff coming to me. And then when I got good sleep, all of a sudden, I didn't want to do it anymore. None of that stuff served me anymore. So
Yeah.
so I would say it was a miracle, yeah, in a way. And then after that, it was like shared experiences with my partner and my friends after that, and now I'm clean. You know?
Yeah. Good for you. God bless
I did do a little bit of something over the weekend with a friend, but it had been a year, and I shouldn't have done that. But now I'm not going back to alcohol. I had some
Was it ayahuasca? Did you
No.
come down to Kentucky and do
well, Clutch would like to do that. Clutch would like to do a show where we're doing that, but I think my days on that are kind of gone. You know,
I'll tell you what, I used to I really enjoyed the hallucinogens, whether it was acid, mescaline, psilocybin, whatever. But that was, and that was in the day when it was all pretty predictable, and it was pretty much, I think, pharmaceutical grade. But you would drop acid and anticipate being high for say 5 hours, and you'd be in it, and then you'd be out of it, and it was pretty much predictable. But with the new stuff that's out there, that's just peppered with everything you could think of, including fentanyl, I mean, it's just not worth it to take the chance. I tell people all the time, two things. I may sound like a hypocrite, but I did drugs, hallucinogens back in the day, and I never regretted it. And I think it expanded my consciousness and made me a better person for it. But I don't do it anymore, and I don't recommend people to do it anymore, just because of the quality or the lack of quality that's out there with these drugs that come over from India, China, Pakistan, wherever. They're bad. They're not good. They're not pharmaceutical grade, and they're not what we used to do back in the day. So for anybody listening, I mean, I would just be very cautious about that. The other thing too is I'm feeling that I'm thinking pretty clearly. I got the cognition going for me right now, and I'm thinking that if I started to mess with anything like that it just might, I don't know, I mean, it might just put me into this altered state where I would stay, and just not be doing writing and everything. So I'd stay away from it. I stopped drinking, and a lot of my friends, it's interesting, we stop drinking and we find God, we look into the face of God. So it's like, that's part of the predictable part of the journey, and again, I don't care if you want to call it God, higher power, Allah, Buddha, whatever. I mean, it's like, again, that's pretty much all the same too. But but again,
I like to call it the creator and the adversary, which are both equal forces within somebody. All the different facets. Gods are God, and all the jinn are whatever you want to call higher and lower vibration are all things that we can tap into, and that's one of the blessings of, I think, being incarnated into a spirit into this body of this reality. Is the facets of everything. I kind of consider it all. I used to, as a heathen, I would say, there's the old gods, but as I started to expand my knowledge, I found that, like, it's almost like looking into a medicine cabinet mirror, and there's another mirror behind it. You put your face there and you look into infinity, right? Yeah. That's kind of like how I see it now. It all comes from some sort of source, something created it all. Or not. Maybe it was just random. I don't know, but I tend not to believe that. I think that there is the divine in everything, And,
Now listen, I consider myself a Catholic Buddhist, and you call yourself a heathen. Why don't you just explain again what that, what you mean by being a heathen?
Okay, well, it's kind of the foundation of my spirituality, which is the belief in the Northern European mythologies, the gods. A lot of it's neo-paganism now. There's very few left of it, since Christianity basically kind of decimated it, made everyone, kind of forced everyone into Christianity, either through
or killed them.
Lack of trade, or killed them, And so a lot of it is a lot of researching and recreation, and that's what a lot of it is. But it's belief in my ancestors. I thought modernity sucked. I thought the future was uncertain. So, and I thought the past was nostalgic, but and also like unreliable. But at the same time, I didn't know where I came from, right? Like, I knew I had a German background, I had a Scots-Irish background, Eastern European background a little bit. It's a little bit of Native American, but I didn't, nobody really talked about it in my household. And as I got older, I wanted to know where I came from. And some of these spirits, I believe, contacted me, so it kind of called to me. I did attempt to experiment and search through different spiritualities. I still research them, but it's mostly belief. It's like warrior spirit, belief in the old gods, belief that I came from something, that I have a history, and pride in my ancestors, really.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah. We all have our tribe, and all have that.
Stay out of a tribe.
Huh?
I'm done with politics and tribalism. I'm done with that. I can't ignore my Christian background. That's part of my history too.
Yeah.
I can't ignore anything that came to me. You can't excise that stuff from yourself, right?
Yeah. So do you walk alone? You consider yourself you follow your own path?
Yes, I follow my own path.
Okay, yeah.
I do. Although the other one, I tend to find a lot of love and warmth in that one, but I tend to follow my own path. So enough about me.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
No, but
talk
I mean
about
that makes sense though. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I do the same thing.
I just in a world where it feels like masculinity is under attack.
Yeah.
Like when you're dealing with the Nordic gods and their parables and their stories, they're teaching you these stories and passing it down. Hopefully it lives through centuries, and those stories still continue to this day, or they've been recreated. But it's kind of like there's a universal warrior culture, like philosophy that goes from samurai to all the different ones, and whether you're reading the Hagakure or the Legend of the Five Rings, or you're reading the Havamal, they all have kind of very similar parallels.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about your time with the Warrens.
Oh yeah.
And how you got involved with that, and but before that, you were a Vietnam vet, weren't you? Before you started getting into the paranormal, like, if you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm a Vietnam vet. I served aboard the USS Constellation. It was an attack carrier, CVA-64. I was a radarman, and the thing that's amazing. I mean, when people ask me if I've ever had any psychic or supernatural experiences, when I was aboard the ship, I saw flying saucers, as did my shipmates. On a regular basis, we saw these solid, tangible contacts. They were faster and more maneuverable than any guided missile that we had, or back at the time the Soviets had. So we would put them in the logbook as UFOs have their range and bearing, and so I don't know. All I know is that we were told to keep our mouths shut, don't tell anybody what we saw, and then those logbooks where we had recorded the UFOs would disappear the next day. So, there was somebody that was just, really concerned about this and about what we saw. But most of us guys were under the age of 20. We were just like little babies fighting this war. We're on this $1 billion ship, and when they told us to shut up about it, we did. We were loyal. We were obedient. We were just babies, really. So, but later, I would talk to my friends about what they experienced, and we would just talk about seeing these flying saucers, these UFOs. And remember, it's nothing new. I mean, this was back during Nam, but in 2002, the Nimitz saw the Tic Tac video, object that was going back and forth and hovering. And at the time, the Pentagon changed the wording from UFO, from unidentified flying object, to UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. And then when this sucker from the Nimitz hovered and then it went underwater, then the Pentagon's calling it now unidentified anomalous phenomenon. So this 2004 video that was shot by Navy pilots from the USS Nimitz is probably one of the most authentic examples we have, the most authentic evidence that we have of flying saucers or UAPs. And, many of us believe that 3% of the things that we see out there are anomalous. In other words, we can't really determine what they are, whether they're ours or they belong to Russia, China, Iran, whoever, or they're from an extraterrestrial intelligence. We just don't know, but it's 3% is pretty much what, the number that I've been hearing, so, say what you will, we continue to see flying saucers out there. There seems to be a lot of talk about disclosure and transparency and everything, and the government coming clean. And I don't believe a word of it. I don't believe a word from any of these politicians that are saying they're going to level with us and play it straight. It's not happening. We're not getting any intel. And the reason for that is that we just they don't believe that we have the need to know. And I totally disagree with the government. I think that the government has at least two priorities. One, to protect us, and the other one is to inform us. And as far as informing us about UAPs, it's not happening. They did nothing, especially with the congressional hearings of 20. That's right, I agree.
Yes. We have a live studio audience there. They love you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
There goes the sci-fi door accidentally spread. That by myself again.
Hey, some lady just threw her panties here up from the stage. God.
They did, yeah. You can see them right. Robot panties for Maxim Furek.
Yeah. Lady from North Carolina.
So there's a lot of stories that came from Vietnam, real odd ones that I've heard, like everything from like bat-winged weird creatures living out there, to even giants, to strange stories. Hard to say.
Yeah.
The
rock apes. The rock apes.
I've never heard that. Do tell me about the rock apes.
I don't know too much about it, other than I've heard that associated with Vietnam, and people talk about these creatures called rock apes. So that's my extent of knowledge with that. But yeah, a lot of weird things happen there. But I'll tell you another thing that's weird. I mean, this is about drugs though. A lot of the boys over in Vietnam got addicted to heroin. It was real easy to do because it was all over the place. Here's the thing: they got addicted. They had a full-blown addiction to heroin. They came stateside, and so many of these guys kicked the habit, stopped doing the smack, stopped doing it, and they just kicked the habit. And there's been a lot of stuff written about that, but some of it was just the environment. The environment over in Nam was conducive to drug use, just because, you could die at any minute, especially if you're a grunt, if you're in the jungles. And, so the drugs were pretty easy to get, whether it was Thai sticks, tripweed, or whether it was heroin. But like I said, so many of these guys that came back stateside were able to quit their heroin addiction. And that's another thing. I mean, it was, I call it a miracle as well, but it was an environmental change. So everything changed when they moved out of the jungle and went back into the concrete jungles of the Bronx or Brooklyn. So pretty amazing thing, but there's tons and tons of data. As a former drug and alcohol counselor, I used to read this stuff. I was just fascinated by the fact that so many of these guys were able to get clean, after Nam. My brothers. So, I'm proud of that fact.
Definitely. You served, you did your part, but I mean, regardless of who was involved and how the conflict started or whatever, like, you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
And thank you for your service, and thank you for helping people to get clean and stuff like that.
Well, the other thing too, the other part of the story is that when I got out, I joined the VVAW. That's the Vietnam Veterans Against the War. So we did everything we could to protest Nixon and the Vietnam War. I mean, we went to Washington, D.C., and we attended every rally and demonstration that we can. And thank God for America, because in America you can do that. You have the freedom of speech. You can express your opinions, and I'm just as patriotic as the next person. And I just was able to go and exercise my right as a patriot and as a citizen to protest that war in Vietnam that was so wrong. It was wrong from day one. So too many of our boys got killed, for unnecessarily. So just and then the other thing too with the Agent Orange. I mean, so many guys still have, are still dealing with issues of Agent Orange, but so many of the people over in Vietnam, are dealing with leukemia and cancers attributed to Agent Orange, because I mean that their country was just saturated by it. I mean, it was just like so widespread and just the worst possible chemical that we could possibly use. But we used that and napalm. So Vietnam was a pretty ugly war. You saw Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I remember just as a little kid, as they were doing news stories like the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite, and they were showing the fall of Saigon, and then years later we had the Afghanistan withdrawal, and it almost seemed like an exact copy from the helicopters on top of buildings and people rushing to the airplanes and stuff like that. So you got back from the war, you saw some UFOs out there in the jungle, right?
Well, and on the ship, I was aboard the ship. And and I saw them a lot, frequently. Okay.
Do you think they were attracted to the conflict in some way, or just the way they seem to be attracted to military vessels quite a bit?
Yeah, they. From everything I've researched, UFOs, UAPs tend to hover around military installations, nuclear power plants, things like that. So I don't know if they feed off of the energy or they're just or what. I mean, nobody knows. I mean, if aliens are here and if cryptids are here, what are they doing? What's their purpose? What are they looking for? What are they observing? I mean, it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to show that human beings are destructive, that we're destroying the planet as well as each other. I mean, we're supposed to be higher than the animals, more cognition and more spirituality. But when you take a look at our track record, I mean, it's horrible. And just look at, I know this isn't a political show, but look at what has happened to the Gaza Strip. I mean, isn't that the worst atrocity in our lifetime, that we allowed that to happen? That was a homeland for the Palestinians. Now they have nothing. So that's.
I agree with you there. I think that's sad. It's
sad. It's sad.
I've been through the whole alchemy of politics, and we criticize things here politically too. I'll be the first to tell you. Go ahead.
Yeah, what happened in Gaza pisses me off. It just doesn't represent the United States of America. We're better than that. We have heart. And anyway, that's all I got to say about that. So, I don't care if people don't buy my books because of my political views. I'm proud of what I am and who I am. I'm a progressive liberal, college educated white guy, and even though we're getting bashed all over the place for being liberal and for having a college education. I mean, God, when did that happen? When was that when did that become like a profanity? I mean, God.
Well, I mean, there's two different factions in it, man. I mean, the whole idea of left and right not being able to talk amongst each other and walk away, say, I just agree to disagree. That's how it used to be, right?
Yeah, that's the way it used to be, right? Yeah.
But it feels like it's a deliberate psychological operation right now by dividing lines, right? And the people that are ahead of us, when we fight, we're only fighting for the will of the elites, and there is no side. It's just the elites. It's a uniparty. It's always been like that.
Yep. Yeah. And so we call them the elites over here. Over in Russia, they're the oligarchs, but it's pretty much the same thing. These are the not millionaires, but the billionaires. They got the yachts and the women and the drugs and everything else. So that's what's happening. But yeah, it's what's happening in this country is just pretty despicable, and that's why I wrote my book, Paranormal Apocalypse. This is how it ends, talking about what's happening in 2026, what's been happening for the last several years, how we live in a land that is divided, that there's no voices of moderation, and and it's too bad, because I mean, I've lost good friendships with people because of my political views, and with the others, we just choose to not talk about politics, which is the sane way to do it. Although let's face it, we're mature adults. We could talk about sex and drugs and politics and religion. We could do that without getting crazy, without taking out an Uzi and wiping out the neighborhood. I mean, we can do this. We have the ability to talk about that. So I mean, I'm just can't see how anybody at this point could still be supporting this bozo in chief that's our president, man, this guy nutso. He's like a whack job. He's crazy. He's like, man, we need him out of there ASAP. So, that's my.
Well, what really got me involved was broken promises, and then like starting to see people talk in tongues, like in the White House, and like like that kind of stuff, and then like the Epstein files too, all the promises, like people were abused, whatever. I like to get into the Warrens and then get into your Bigfoot stuff because I know that's what you really want to talk about. So.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Nicely played, MoJoe.
I know. I mean, we could talk here all you want.
No.
I don't care what people's politics are anymore. I'm burnt on it. Like
yeah.
I accept people for what they are right now. But I mean, I just think it was a giant psychological operation. I think all of it was. I think it was leading people to do this to get sides and be further divided. And I watched it all happen. So. And
again, just to underscore that and maybe put a nice bow on it, we're a nation divided. We're a nation that's in chaos. We're every day there's another crazy thing that comes out of the White House, like whether we're going to invade Mexico or Greenland or whatever he's doing. But it's just to keep us confused and in chaos and unbalanced. And that's a means of controlling us. That's why this is happening. And it makes us crazy, and we cocoon and we run. Rather than participating in the political process, we run away and hide and cocoon. And we say, I just can't take it anymore. It's a deliberate means of distracting us and really driving us crazy. That's what's happening.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on that one. And
it's like the island of Dr. Moreau. I mean, they're trying to turn us into animals.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's starting to happen too. Like nothing surprises me at this point, right?
Hey, MoJoe, we're not animals. We walk on 2 feet.
Yes. I'm a human being. Yes. But anything put on repeat over and over and over again, that's a part of psychological manipulation on my part.
Exactly. Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Short-term, was it short-term pain for long-term gain? Short-term pain for long-term gain, everybody. Do you feel it? Do you feel it short-term right now?
Or it'll trickle down, too. You heard that one.
Yeah, trickle down.
It's never trickled down. That never trickled down to me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it never did to me either. Yeah. So let's go in the Warrens. You got back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right? So besides the experiences you had with UFOs, like what else led you? Did you feel like this was kind of a doorway that opened up and then you met the Warrens? Tell me the story, please.
Yeah, well, first of all, I got out of Vietnam. I was 22 years old, so I lived in California for a while. I was a practicing Buddhist. I was really into that. And I believe that, a lot of us hippies, a lot of us we're looking at different pathways to spirituality. And, with me, it was meditation, it was drugs, and it was Buddhism. And then I hitched to Flagstaff, Arizona. I hung out there, just like trying to figure it out. I had heard things about Flagstaff. And they said, don't cross the tracks. Don't go on the other side of the town. It's really bad there. So that's the first place I headed, just to see what was happening there. And then I hitched across the country. So I've had a wonderful adventure and life experience in the Navy. I mean, it was San Diego. I went to San Diego, San Francisco, Seattle, Hawaii, Hong Kong, Philippines, Japan, and the Gulf of Tonkin. And I mean, I had liberty in Hong Kong. I'm walking the streets of Hong Kong, looking for an opium den at midnight, and it was safe. I mean, you think, it's amazing. I think Hong Kong is probably safer than Chicago or New York, but that was part of my experience, and never regretted any of it. First time I ever tripped on acid was in Hawaii, walking Waikiki Beach.
Wow.
And that was bizarre. So, but again, I mean, I talk a lot about the drugs because I know there's positives to it, and even with people that are suffering from PTSD or depression, drugs like ketamine can be an instantaneous fix, for that depression, rather than waiting weeks and months for these antidepressants to kick in. So anyway, I think that there's good uses, medicinal uses for drugs. I'm glad that whoever was in charge took marijuana out of Schedule 1. It never belonged in Schedule 1 ever, so it belongs in 2, 3, 4, or 5, wherever you want to put it, but not Schedule 1. Schedule 1 drugs have no approved application according to the federal government. And we know that with marijuana, there's plenty of states, probably the majority of states, recognize the medicinal use of marijuana, for PTSD, for relaxation, for insomnia, for anxiety, for whatever, So that's that. But the book that I wrote, Flying Saucer Esoteric, the Altered States of Ufology. I wrote that book in 97 days, and that was almost like a drug fuel thing. I wrote morning, noon, and night. Until I finished it, gave myself 100 days to complete the book, and I felt that if I got to 100 days and didn't finish it, I would just pull out, because I was going to burn out. So it took me 97 days to write it, but that was just like nonstop, morning, noon, and night. My wife never saw me. I was just like, but I got it done. That was the thing. I wouldn't advise anybody to do it, but I did it. So that was the other point. But Ed and Lorraine, I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania, and MoJoe, I'm getting back to your question here.
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania, where the Schmurl haunting took place. And so when that happened in the 80s, I was there, quite a bit. I'd drive up there and I would take pictures, talk to the neighbors and all that. And then in 1988, Ed and Lorraine Warren began a 15-city book tour to promote a book called The Haunted. It was written by Robert Curran, who I worked for with the Sunday Independent newspaper. We both worked for the same newspaper. So anyway, Ed and Lorraine were on a tour to promote that book. I got permission from the promoter to hang out with them. So I think it was in July of '88. We hung out on the streets of Jim Thorpe, a very nice touristy little town. And, hung out, talked about God and the devil and, Padre Pio and St. Michael the Archangel and all that. And it was just awesome. And I kept in touch with Ed and Lorraine over the years until they died. They were very good to me, very respectful. I think Ed saw maybe some energies in me that he liked or appreciated, or maybe he saw a younger version of him in me. I'm not exactly sure, but I would call him up, and Lorraine, who was a lover of animals, had a rooster there that she named Einstein. And I'd be calling up to talk to Ed, and she would answer, and you could hear Einstein in the background. And then I would ask Ed questions about, the Schmurl haunting and about how he did battle with the demons. And Ed would go and cloak himself with the power of Jesus Christ, of St. Michael the Archangel, and of power of Padre Pio. He would use the crucifix and holy water, and he would go and do battle with these demons and, call them out, have them name themselves and all that. And Lorraine was a clairvoyant. She could see things. So they both had some abilities. I think Lorraine more than Ed. Ed was a practicing okay. I didn't read that.
Go ahead. I'm here.
But anyway, so they were nice people, and they treated me good, and I can't say enough about them. Ed and Lorraine Warren were the pioneers. We had, let me see, in '68, I think it was, we had Rosemary's Baby. We had The Exorcist around 1972. We had The Omen. There was a whole plethora of motion pictures and books that were talking about the occult, and because there was an appetite for that. And right around the same time, Ed and Lorraine Warren manifested, and they showed up. And again, they were pioneers, they were ambassadors. They taught us about demonology as much as those motion pictures did. But I mean, the reality is that people wanted to know about demons. They wanted to know about ghosts and spirits and poltergeists. And, so Ed and Lorraine were our teachers. And I can't say enough about them. I know a lot of people do not like the Warrens, and I've heard all of the criticisms and all that, but I do, and I I support them. They say that when when they're criticizing somebody who's not in the room, that person needs to be represented by somebody. And with the
Yeah.
Warren, it's me. I mean, I respect them dearly. They taught me much, and they were my mentors, and and that's how it is. And I write about them respectfully in my books, especially the Schmerl haunting when Ed and Lorraine came to town. So that was a one of my
Yes,
latest.
sir. Yeah, well, yeah. So what was the Schmerl haunting, if you'll tell us a little bit about that for those who don't know?
Yeah, well, the Schmerl haunting was a typical haunted house, just like Amityville and Hinsdale and all the other ones. It started what happened was we had a flood here called Hurricane Agnes hit Pennsylvania in 1972. So we had just days and days and days of rain. The hurricane went out to sea, and then it came back, and we got slammed again. So this was a major flood. Northeastern Pennsylvania, the whole area, New York State got flooded out. And Jack and Janet Schmerl left Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and went to West Pittston, where they purchased this double duplex. So Jack and Janet Schmerl lived in one side, and Jack's parents lived in the other. And that was fine, but then things started to happen. They heard knocks, there were smells, there were grunts, there were profanities written in the mirror. The brand new television blew up. Almost hurt the one of the daughters. A chandelier fell down and almost killed one of the daughters. So all of these things started to happen. They got more and more and more dramatic. I contend that the Schmerl haunting was more intense than what happened in Amityville, and the reason for that is Jack claimed that he was raped. He was sexually assaulted and raped by a female demon, a succubus, and Janet Schmerl claimed that she was also physically abused by a demon. So I think that the Schmerl haunting was more violent than any of the other haunted houses that we've explored. And my reason for that, what I think happened, is that Jack and Janet Schmerl had a strong belief. They were Christians, they were Catholics, and I think their faith got them through this ordeal of demonic infestation. But I believe also because of their strong faith, they became targets, and I think that the demons were after them. They had a target on their back, and I believe that the devil delights in taking down people that have dedicated their lives to the Lord and to the Bible and to Christ. So that's or to Buddha or to Islam. I mean, whatever, religions, devotion to religions are pretty much the same, despite the differences in the religion. So anyway, I think because of the Schmerl's strong faith, they became a target. So that's what I think.
Okay, so let's. Mark Evans and this documentary he made, and
yeah. You would bring that up, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, we need to talk about it because we made a video about it, and this was something that you wanted to talk about.
I do, yeah. I'm thinking that Mark.
Cryptids.
I'm thinking Mark Evans is on the religious right. I don't know, but that's going to be my guess.
I don't know. This is the first time I heard about him. It's still did a little bit of research. I didn't watch his video, but I have seen the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah,
it looks compelling.
Yeah, I know. Well, the Patterson-Gimlin film. It looks compelling. Yeah, from about 1967. Yeah, I believe 1967. But with Mark Evans, and I'm on record as challenging Mark Evans to a debate, any place, any time, for him to defend his documentary capturing Bigfoot. And as your viewers probably know, in January of this year, Mark Evans premiered his documentary Capturing Bigfoot at the South by Southwest Film Festival in Austin, and there were only a handful of selected individuals that were there, people from the Hollywood Reporter and some of these other newspaper outlets and media outlets, but very few people saw it. So what this was Mark Evans claimed that one of his co-workers had discovered a reel of 16 millimeter black and white film, and they were able to go and have it developed, and here it showed, I think it was 40 seconds of a skinny Bigfoot that looked like it was around Bluff Creek, the same one as the Patterson-Gimlin film, but it was walking across this riverbed. And Mark Evans claimed that it was a trial run for the Patterson-Gimlin film. He claimed that the Patterson-Gimlin film is a hoax, and this newly discovered film footage was proof that they were practicing, that this was just a trial run. So that's what he's saying. I think it's, I just think that he's talking out of his hat. I just think that he's chasing the buck. And a good example of that is there's money to be made in these documentaries about Bigfoot. And I think that this is more than anything else, it's a money grab. So by doing this, by putting this documentary out, what Mark Evans did was he threw a grenade in the hen house. Everything exploded. The Bigfoot community seemed to be going into two different directions. A lot of us, myself included, defending the original Patterson-Gimlin film. I believe it's authentic. I mean, from everything I've read and researched by people like, from the University of Idaho, Jeff Meldrum, and all of these folks, Lauren Coleman, a lot of people believe that it was true. John Napier from the Smithsonian, a lot of those folks. But and then there were other people that were delighted in saying that maybe somebody was going to burst the bubble of the Patterson-Gimlin film. And these were people that belonged to these groups, like these groups of critical thinkers in the paranormal realm. They call themselves critical thinkers, but when I read some of their blogs and everything, I mean, there's nothing that indicates that they're critical thinkers. They're just a bunch of bozos that, want to see the Patterson-Gimlin film be taken down, and viewed as a hoax. So that's what's going on. But my publisher, Hanger One, has we put together a press release and we sent it out, and we had traction in I think 1,412, newspapers or whatever, people responded to that. So we're waiting to hear from Mark Evans. And no, I haven't seen the Capturing Bigfoot film. Yes, I would like to see it. Yes, I guess no, and I guess ideally, ostensibly, I should have seen Capturing Bigfoot before I mouthed off about it. But I just think that Mark Evans is just barking up the wrong tree, and I don't believe him. He had the film, and he had the confession from Roger Patterson's son, Chris Patterson, and Chris claiming that the film was hoaxed, the 1967 film was hoaxed, and also claiming that he watched as his father took the Bigfoot outfit and burned it in the fire pit, piece by piece. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking if I'm destroying the evidence, I'm going to do it in a place where nobody's going to be watching me, so that's suspect. So the whole thing about Mark Evans doesn't pass the smell test. Something stinks to high heaven, and I'm calling him out. I just think that let's talk about this academically, scientifically. I'm a skeptic, but I just want to go and have a debate with Mark Evans if he shows up, and I'd be glad to fly to Chicago or someplace to meet him. I'm glad to do that on my dime. So that's the thing. I'm on MoJoe, on your program of Dark Matters. I'm challenging Mark Evans to a debate, any place, anytime. It could be on your podcast. I don't care. Let's just let's
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have him.
Think about that one, Mr. Batman. Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
what do you think about that one? Yeah.
Let's do it,
I
yeah.
think that would be fantastic. If he wants to come on, let's get him on and we can have a roundtable, little debate here. As long as we can keep
Let's
it
get
civil
some
and we don't
people,
sound
get-
like
Yeah.
a Piers Morgan episode where everyone's yelling at each other. Like,
That's right, yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what's happening. That made big news in the Bigfoot community. So, when you look at some of the things like Jeff Meldrum died in 2025, 2026 we had capturing Bigfoot. I mean, like a lot of things, we're getting clusters of things happening around the same time. But, there's a lot of action within the Bigfoot and the paranormal community. A lot of things happening, and it's just exciting stuff. And I'm just so glad to be in the middle of it, as a not only as an author and researcher, but as a participant. And again, my only reason for challenging Mr. Evans is just to go and just find out what's going on. I just think that he's, I want to know who's zooming who. I think he's trying to zoom us, and again, I'm just calling him out on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that, like, you need to balance it out between skepticism and belief too, because if you believe too hard, then you can become a fool, right?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
becomes almost like a religion. But if you want to try to debunk certain things too, what I've
Yeah.
told people over the years. Oh, you got something going on real quick?
No, I'm just putting this over here. Okay.
That's fine. Little music.
Yeah. Okay. I should have shut that off. Let me just.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It happens.
Okay.
So what I was gonna say is, like, what I've seen a lot of, like, paranormal, like what do you call it, investigators or people that even do homemade, they try to debunk things first to find out earthbound, any sort of earthbound, like, reasons for whatever's happening before the end result being like, we don't know. It's almost like the 3% of the UFOs that can't be explained.
Exactly. Yeah.
With swamp gas or birds or balloons or whatever.
Well,
It's the same thing
swamp
with the
gas.
paranormal.
That was J. Allen Hynek's Waterloo. He never should have said that. There, and that story, right? In Michigan. It was Michigan. Yeah, well, that's right. You're from Michigan. Okay, so no, you're from Washington. Yeah, but
well, I live in Washington, but I'm originally from Southern California.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, anyway, Hynek said that what these female college students saw was swamp gas, and everybody in the state of Michigan was really upset about him because they wanted their own flying saucer. They wanted their own flap. So when Hynek said it was swamp gas, I mean, everybody was up in arms only because of the regional pride. They wanted to have their own spaceship. I mean, that's what that was all about. Nothing scientific, nothing philosophical. They just wanted bragging rights. And when he said no, it was swamp gas, I mean, everybody was in his face. So Hynek had like an epiphany. I mean, he kind of changed his tune right around that time after he got called out about the swamp gas. So he started to say, no, I think he started to see. Well, the other thing he did too was this. He started to have more respect for the witnesses, eyewitnesses who saw things. He admitted that he and the scientific community disrespected the witnesses, and when we should have said, well, what did you see and where were you standing, and and how big was it and all this. I mean, a scientific assessment of what the people saw. So anyway, Hynek came around, and he did great things for us because he provided vocabulary. He provided terms like close encounters of the first, second, and third kind, and levels of high strangeness and all this stuff. I mean, we didn't have terminology for that, but he gave us that, and we needed that. And I mean, it sounds very elementary and pedestrian, but it's really not. He said with flying saucers that you might see an orb flying over your car, and you might be bathed in a blue light, and maybe you can't start your car, and then you got missing time. So just one or two of those things are coincidence, but when you pile them up, I mean, 4 things, 5 things. Same thing with Sasquatch. I mean, it gives you reason to take a look at that and view it with more significance. And with the Sasquatchers, certainly we don't have a body or DNA. We don't have any of that. But what we do have is we have, eyewitnesses. We have the smell. We have the wood knocks. The structures, the sounds. I mean, it's a whole lot of things that collectively are more than just a coincidence. It's more like Hynek's levels of high strangeness, only not with UFOs, but with cryptids. So, I believe
Well,
that.
I have a question for you then.
Sure.
Okay. With all the different kinds of weird experiences, we just had a guest on that had what people would classify as like an evil Spider-Man encounter, right? But it didn't look like Spider-Man when he did through AI, but it was a really weird looking creature.
Yeah.
How much of this is, say, and I've asked this question quite a bit and tried to speculate on it through, certain theories or mindset, is how much of this is human consciousness mixing in with an area that may defy the laws of physics, where something is manifested suddenly? Or are these flesh and blood creatures? Another question would be, have you ever noticed the technology of UFOs seems to change based on the modernization of certain technologies? For instance, in the 1950s, when they saw flying saucers, they really strongly resembled like what people's thoughts of what flying saucers with the bubble and the top and the being flying the craft. Have you noticed the morphology with this sort of stuff? And that would be the question: how much of this is actual, like, knock on wood, flesh and blood, or technology versus consciousness?
Well, first, we're getting back to the flying saucer question. I mean, I think we've seen the saucer shape, and then we've seen like triangular shapes and orb shapes, and I think a lot of flying saucer enthusiasts are now talking more about orbs. Or certainly in Western Pennsylvania, which is an epicenter of weirdness, especially in Chestnut Ridge, we're seeing Bigfoot creatures alongside saucers or orbs. So there's something of the paranormal there. I don't know what it is, but there's that connection between flying saucers and UAPs and cryptids. So there's that. But the other thing about the consciousness and manifestation and all that. There, in my book, the Scream of the Haunted House, which is my latest book that's coming out probably in days. I mean, Hangar 1, but I'm just so excited because that's coming out. But I talk about a Hungarian researcher named Nandor Fodor, Fodor, and he was a journalist. He was a psychoanalyst, and he also was a person that was into the paranormal. And he blended all of those things together. Fodor was a student of Sigmund Freud, and Freud believed in the subconscious just being such a powerful force. And Fodor believed as well that elements of the paranormal aren't really. I mean, MoJoe used the term flesh and blood, but we could use that as a metaphor. I mean, Fodor was saying that those things that we saw, these paranormal things, were flesh and blood paranormal things, but they were conjured up through us, human beings, through our subconsciousness with egregores and things like that. He said that that human beings had this potential to go and create those things. And when you talk about that, I'm very much familiar with Annabelle the doll and the Devils on the Run tour and all of that. But one theory with dolls like objects like Annabelle and Robert the doll down in Key West, one theory is that it's actually human beings that are projecting their expectations and energies onto these inanimate objects and giving them a life force. So do with that what you will, but we don't know. I think that probably as we explore the paranormal, we definitely have to take a look at the subconscious, as because we have innate powers, we have innate abilities. We talk about adolescent, mainly adolescent women having psychokinetic energies where they could go and manipulate things and control things. So, this isn't anything new. These are theories that have been talked about for quite a few years. But Nandor Fodor, the Hungarian, was the one that wrote about it. And then I'll tell you what, an interesting little side note is that Shirley Jackson, when she wrote her classic book, The Haunting of Hill House, she was influenced so much by people like Henry James, but also by Fodor and his belief that, a lot of the supernatural was manifested by us. So you take a look at that. You take a look at the pareidolia, which is the psyche strives towards homeostasis. It strives for balance. We can't have vacant gaps in the brain. If we do, the brain will go and confabulate and put something in there. But I believe that with the pareidolia, you look at the clouds in the sky, and you're bound to find something. You will, because the mind will go and take a look at what's there in the clouds and hook it up with a known shape, something that resembles that. And we've had classic cases of pareidolia. Certainly with the 9/11, there was a photographer took a picture of the 9/11 with all of the smoke rising from the tower, and many people saw the face of Satan. And I've seen that photograph. I mean, it looks like the face of Satan that was in the cloud. So certainly it's pareidolia, but so was, the face and the moon and all these other things. But, they look like things that we recognize, that are familiar, but we really don't know. So pareidolia is a strong aspect of the human consciousness, and we can't rule out that some of the things that we see are an example of pareidolia. So that's just the way it works.
So I was going to ask you, how you doing? Do you want to keep going, or because we've gone pretty close to the time you wanted to be allotted? But if you got anything else to add or anything you want, or we can keep going if you want.
Yeah, if we could do another 15 minutes, that'll be good, if that's good with you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's fine by me. Okay, so let's go into, for all those that are listening.
You just froze. Okay, MoJoe, you just froze there, and your camera just froze. I don't know what's going on. But
okay, can you hear me? There we go. We lost our video for a second. All right, so we're going back on here.
Yeah.
Let's go back with both of us here, trying to work all the cameras and making it look professional.
All right, it does look professional.
By myself. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Hey, where's Clutch? Dr. Clutch is missing a good show.
He's missing a really good show. He wants to be here. He's saying it's really bad right now. I've been texting him the whole time. So
what's really
fill in
bad?
the gaps of some of our something about identity theft or something.
Oh, that's right. You said okay. Well,
and his bank is talking to him right now. He's having some serious issues. So for those that want to put in some good vibes for him, he wanted to be here, but it happened just as we were in sound check. So
I think it's one of those Mexican, those Tijuana rock bands they used to bring up to book in San Diego.
No.
Okay. Just joking.
Some other rogue of the night, sir. It was some other rogue of the night.
Okay. Okay, just kidding. Okay.
All right, so let's talk about like, have you experienced some of this demonic stuff when you were with the Warrens, or even outside? Were you doing investigations too? Did you actually experience some of this stuff? Yeah.
No,
did you ever have to deal with that?
No, but I'll tell you what. I'm friends with a lot of, my friends and I talk religion a lot. But I mean, I have Christian friends, but I also have friends that are pagan and they're Wiccan, and we talk about the demonic and all that, and how they view it. They view it differently. I mean, Christians typically look at good and evil, as very just black and white terms. That's the way it is. But Wiccans and pagans believe that, there's dark energies all around us, and we need to maybe work with those energies and maybe incorporate those energies and coexist with those energies. The only problem is when these energies become problematic, and then at least with the Wiccans, they have the right of banishment, where they actually chase away these energies and keep them at bay. So, but I've been warned I have a friend that's a born again Christian, and boy, does he read me the riot act about don't get too close to the flame. You're going to get sucked in. The devil's going to get you and all this. And I mean, he's warning me continually, but I mean, I'm not dancing with the devil. I'm not, I mean, that's not who I am and what I am. I mean, I have, I think I'm filled with God's grace, and I have a lot of faith and hope and optimism, and and certainly, I mean, I have a profound respect for for evil, for the existence of evil and the existence of the devil. I believe that they're real, and and I try to, I view a lot of this as a skeptic and as an academic. So no, I don't dance with the devil. I don't need anything. I mean, I don't, that he could offer. And the problem with demonic possession, we know that there's a process that starts with temptation, and then maybe obsession and infestation, and then possession. And even with people that are possessed, we see similar things. We see, superhuman strength from these people that are possessed. We see them talking in tongues, ancient Sumerian, Babylonian languages, that they don't know, but they're speaking fluently. They tend to know the secrets of the people in the room, the exorcist, the priest. And for example, in The Exorcist, Reagan, the girl that's possessed, knows that Father Karras, played by Jason Miller, is having a crisis of confidence. He's having a crisis of faith because I believe his mother died, and he can't, or she's dying, and he can't believe that God would allow this to happen when he's been so righteous and loyal, and and doing what he needed to do. So so you have that, but there's levitation, there's a whole bunch of things, but we know this from exorcists and from real life events that these people that are possessed have superhuman strength and certain abilities. So
would you guess that these are all fallen angels? I had an exorcist one time that we interviewed, and he said these were all fallen angels. But then he also mentioned like pre-Christian pagan gods too. Like there was somebody that he had done an exorcism on that had the spirit of Apep within him, or at least the demonic spirit, whatever was in possession.
Yeah.
Claimed that it was Apep. So I mean, and then of course I've heard of the Warren story about the werewolf, the guy that was turning into a werewolf or possessed by a wolf out in England.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that kind of stuff too? Have you, in your research, have you found that some of these are pre-Christian notions?
Yeah. Well, in The Exorcist, the demon was the Sumerian demon Pazuzu, and Pazuzu was just like a really strange thing. Not only was it a demonic force, but also it was like a protector of. And I'm ad-libbing because I forget, but I think Pazuzu was also the protector of pregnant women and the southeastern winds, and just a whole bunch of like really weird stuff. So this demon wasn't just a demon of evil, but also a demon of protection and some goodness. So maybe that was what they did. Maybe they, some of these deities were a little bit of the good and the bad. So I'm not sure, but I know I just went to a program on The Exorcist, and they talked about Pazuzu, and very interesting. It shows Pazuzu right at the beginning when the priest is on the archaeological dig, and just an amazing motion picture. That Exorcist we can't get enough of. It just captivated us, it riveted us, and that was in the early 70s. There was a hunger around the world for motion pictures and books that talked about the demonic. There was something going on. 70s was just a crazy thing. After the revolutionary cultural revolution from the 60s, things changed and got more intense. They got heavier. they got nastier in the 70s with, just like with mainstream pornography that, Deep Throat, the people that they promoted as the motion picture that couples would go to see, that boyfriends and girlfriends would go to see, and it was a promotional thing. It was just a porno movie that they just hyped up. It was but made a whole lot of money. I mean, not so much for Linda Lovelace, but for everybody else. So but anyway, the 70s was really wild. Not just with the pornography, but disco, with drug use, with people walking around with little Coke spoons and little vials, Coke vials, that they're hanging around their neck, advertising that they were drug, cocaine users. So 70s was pretty wild, and that whole thing about The Exorcist and The Omen came right around that time, as did Ed and Lorraine Warren. So it was just a crazy time in our culture, and just pretty amazing. I like the 70s for what it represented. Especially through popular culture, just an amazing time.
Well, when people talk about the 1960s, they tend to think about the drug culture, but from what I understand, the real drug culture didn't really manifest itself until the 1970s, right? And early 80s, but
it got heavier, during the end of the tail end of the 60s, heroin and methamphetamine came into the picture, but then in the 1970s, I mean, cocaine and just Quaaludes. I mean, there was just and the interesting thing with Quaaludes, the PDR, the physician's desk reference, said that Quaaludes were a safe, non-addictive hypnotic. Nothing could be further from the truth. They called them disco biscuits. A lot of people thought that, when you have a hangover, you could just pop a Quaalude and that'll take away the hangover and everything. But, they were used for date rape, as, Bill Cosby showed us. And, they were popular, with the younger crowd, popping Quaaludes and drinking alcohol. So, that was just what was happening. And just another part of, our culture and our drug use and our music and our, paranormal. It's all, the same thing. I mean, even with, people that are going on their trips with the hallucinogens and the psychedelics, looking to find looking for their spirituality. An interesting experiment was at Johns Hopkins University, where they were giving older people psilocybin, believing that psilocybin could unlock the key to spirituality, that people that were highly religious had a certain amount of enzymes and endorphins and everything that psilocybin could mimic. So Johns Hopkins University was doing these studies to see if they could unlock the key to spirituality through drugs, i.e. psilocybin. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, indeed. And have you heard of Dr. David Nutt? He was a British researcher with the Royal British Ministry of Medicine, and he did a study. The British government wanted to have basically a negative look on psychedelics like ketamine and LSD and mushrooms and those things, and they did a whole study on it, and they actually showed MRIs of the brain, right? Uh-huh. So for the longest time, they were telling you you're going to melt your brain, you're going to lose brain cells, right? And they wanted alcohol to look better than the drugs and the effects on people. Yeah. And when he did this study, they found out when they were doing psychedelics that all the dormant parts of your brain were active at the same time. Uh-huh. And so that's what kind of, I think, has started to change this and taking it from a Schedule 1 and bringing it down, or at least being able to use it for scientific and medical purposes right now. So,
well, listen, I
believe in safe. I'll let you go. Anything you'd like to plug? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't want to plug. I want to show you something. Here's the government. Here's a government's thing. This is your brain on ecstasy. And if you take a look at that, now this is the official government thing. I used to be a drug and alcohol guy, so this is, I had access to this, but they said that here's the plain brain right here on this side, and then here's the side with ecstasy, and you can see there's holes and gaps there. So they're claiming that people that used ecstasy actually would have their brain damage, that it was a neurotoxin. Well, the truth is that this postcard, this experiment, they didn't use ecstasy, MDMA, methylene deoxymethamphetamine. They used methamphetamine, which is a known neurotoxin. It destroys brain cells and everything. The idiots used our government used the wrong drug for this study. So, when you say that ecstasy is harmful, you better use the right drug that, in your experiments, and they didn't. So anyway, just,
We're going with the narrative. Anything you'd like to plug before we go ahead and let you set you free, set you loose?
Yeah, sure. If anybody's interested in checking me out, I have a website. It's www.maximfurek.com, www.maximfurek.com. And my books are there. If you're interested in an autographed copy of any of my books, I'd be glad to hook you up, so we could do that. Also, my latest book coming out in days is the Scream of the Haunted House. It's being published by Hangar One, and I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to make some noise, but it's coming out, and we're skied, and just very optimistic. And I don't think I can show you any of the. I don't think I can show you anything here.
If there's a present, or like if you had a picture, you could put it into the present or invite. Basically, you just hit that and it should show.
Present. Okay, good. Okay, so there's present. Okay, then okay, very good. Image file. Good. Okay.
And I can add that, and then I can add that to the screen. Yeah.
Okay, so let me show you the Scream of the Haunted House. Okay, see if I can find it. Okay, so here's. Okay, so here's that. Can you see that?
Yeah, the stage right there. Boom.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so there's my buddy Kristen Amanda, and she gave us the quote, every paranormal investigator needs to have this on their shelf. The Scream of the Haunted House is the ghost hunter's Bible. So she has the Paragirl podcast, and here's the Scream of the Haunted House, the ghost hunter's Bible. And Kristen and I are going to be featured on a number of podcasts promoting the book as the Paranormal's Power Duel. So what do you think, MoJoe? You like the optics or what?
I do. I can't wait to animate that for you. That looks like it's going to be fantastic.
I know.
So I'm having so much fun right now. I'm going to go ahead and take it down for now, get you back up here. I just want to say it was a great honor to not only know you and talk to you, but also have you on the show. And I'm sorry we ran into some issues, but I mean we were both able to handle this. And to the people that do listen in or listening in post recording, I'm sure that they will get a lot more, and they'll probably be, I should have been there. Yeah. You should have been there. You should have been there. But anyway, would you come back on again? You're always welcome on the show anytime.
Absolutely. Let me see if I can talk Kristen into it too, and maybe we could get.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that. We can reschedule with Dr.Clutch at some point in the future, and of course, we're in contact. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, MoJoe, thanks so much for your friendship and for all that you're doing, and I really enjoyed being on your show.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. Thank you. Real honor for you to be here. And
honor for me. Honor's all mine. So
yeah, yes, sir. So I'll let you go. You have yourself a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Okay, MoJoe. The light in me honors the light in you.
Yeah, and I feel it. I feel the light. Yes. All right. So here we go. So for those that were listening in, that was Maxim Furek. Yes, we sometimes run into technological issues. Sometimes things come up. We're only human, right? But hereafter, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, okay, and then we'll come back with Lawrence of the Netherlands. He's a friend of mine, another fellow podcaster, and we're going to have a good time with a little bit of conversation, because sometimes things go sideways. Sometimes you got to think on the spot. Sometimes you got to come up with different things to talk about, but we will come back right after this short break. It's going to be a little bit of a minute break, and thanks to having StreamYard, we don't have any, we can go on for forever. We can go on for forever. Yeah, Mia Starfire, she knows what's up. She knows about Sideways. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, stay tuned. Stick around for after this break.
We'll be right back after this short break. Now back to our scheduled program.
Welcome back to the second hour of Dark Matters podcast. Settle down. Something's going on. Something's going on. Here, I'm going to mute you real quick. Sounds like something's going on there with Lawrence. Got some multiple sound things, so I got to mute him real quick before I bring him on. But yeah, man, we had Lawrence in our audience, and now Lawrence up on stage. Clutch is having to deal with a few things, so I'm taking over for today. We have Mia Starfire with us. She's getting ready for her show, but she was kind enough to join us. I hope you enjoyed Maxim Furek, the guy with a lot of information. But let's go ahead and bring Lawrence on real quick. Here we go. Lawrence, how's it going, brother?
Hey, welcome. Sorry for the poor lightning. It's nighttime here and I can't get the lightning right, so I'm a little bit in the dark, but it's also the theme of the show, so it meant.
Yes. Well, now it's of Dark Matters for real. Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm a little bit shady here. I can't help it, but it is what it is for now.
It's okay. It just sounded like there was something going on in the background, so I didn't want that to get in the way for me to give you an introduction. So Lawrence of the Netherlands, he's been a podcaster for a long time here. He and I have been friends for some time. We chat about creativity, and he sends me beautiful photos of his country, the Netherlands. Just a beautiful country, and he has two shows, The Rock Archives and The World Gone Mad. Sometimes we've had a reoccurring co-host who I've also sent a link to if he wants to show up. If he doesn't, well, then he's busy. He's South Osman, right? And you've had him on your show, and we also, The Rock Archives is rock history, of course. Unfortunately, we're not able to play all the music there, but we can definitely talk about it, right, Lawrence?
Oh, yeah.
And the World Gone Mad is geopolitics, especially in Europe, with how everything is going bananas in Europe right now, right? It's not exactly all the time peaceful, right, sir?
Oh, no, it's a freak show. That's like everywhere else in the West. But, well, actually, I changed it a little bit. I don't dive too much into those topics anymore. I used to for 5 years, but it might pop up sometimes. But like the last one I did, which was actually about health and about the mind, and how most diseases or pains that you feel are self-created. There is a few exceptions, but this guy I was talking about, Dr. Sarno, he wrote a book, Healing Back Pain. He was a real doctor for many years, and he was a real doctor because he was wondering why the treatments he was giving people weren't really working. So then he found out that this TMS, as they call it, it's happens in the brain because it's an emotional thing. It's something that you cannot handle. That's why you start to feel pain in your arm or in your knee or whatever. So you get physical pain instead of dealing with the trauma. So that's what it's all about. And there were some exceptions, of course. I think they call it like the 5 Bs. If it's bleeding, if it's bruised, if it's broken, all these kind of things, you need attention, of course. But if it wasn't those 5 Bs, I forgot the other one. If it wasn't those 5 Bs, then it's purely in your head. And some people cure just by reading the book, by realizing it. Other people need some therapy to help them with it. But generally, it was really interesting. I just did part 1. I'm gonna do part 2. But it's so fascinating, and it gives so much power back, and it's a beautiful message that he gave at the end of his life, and gave also to a lot of patients, like, there's nothing wrong with you, go live your life. It's like it's emotional.
Well, like my favorite Nordic saying is, fear not your hour of doom, because your time is set and none can escape it. It means live life. Because if you're going to die, who cares anyway? You can't dwell on death, right? Can't dwell on if you go you're time traveling through your mind. If you're going into the past too much, going back into the future too much, and you're very little in the now right now, And it's just weird how so many people like have that kind of. I know a few of them myself that always have got some sort of issue physically, but not really treating the mental aspect of it. Right, the mental aspect of it is a big deal. Like if you're dying, you got to be positive. You want to live. Right? Isn't that what a lot of doctors say when people are on their deathbeds? You're going to want to fight and you're going to want to live. And so, yeah, part of it is if you give up, I know a lot of people that I would consider like undead. Something's going on in the back of your house. What's going on there, brother? You got people over? You partying,
No.
bro?
Oh, it's the TV. But I can maybe go to another room, but let's see.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'll just move. But I think it's not much lighter there. Hang on.
It's okay. Of dark matters. We don't just steer you right. We steer you in the dark.
See?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more in the light.
There we go. That sounds better. That sounds way better, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the bloody TV was in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear everything. I can hear a tick fart in the wind. Yeah, that's how good my stuff is.
So now I'm better in the camera.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for doing that for me, because that
I hope everything's all right with Clutch.
I hope so too, man. I do. I feel bad. I don't. It happened, and just as we were about to do our sound check, we do a sound check at 2 p.m. And then as soon as I transferred him some money because I owed him $20, and I'm not sure if it was my fault or if something's going on or like maybe there was something else going on. I have no idea what's happening. But our thoughts are with you, Clutch, if you're out there and you're listening in, and we'll
It's an honor
it was
to
a shame
step
because
in.
he was looking forward to meeting Maxim Furek. He really was. He did not want to get out of this. He did his research, and it was But so we're going to be getting you up on the show here, and then I'm going to be on your
show.
Which is
sorry for the audience.
Why would you apologize, right?
Who can replace the great Clutch? I can't.
No one can replace the great Clutch. Now, I'm not asking to replace the great Clutch, but it's always good to have people when they want to fill in and join us, right? Yeah. So I went camping like this weekend. Did you know that? I didn't think I told you.
Yeah. You told me you went out there and
Well, yeah, I did something that I hadn't done in a while. It was a celebratory thing. I did a little bit of drinking and a little bit of barfing. So this is me in the morning, upside down.
Nice.
Okay, we'll see if it'll present it right there. I don't know why it's upside down because in my camera it's fully. It
doesn't sound like a little drinking.
This is me in the morning after that horrific night that I had, deciding to make a bad decision and having a drink with my friends. So there's me upside down, probably more than likely leftovers on my beard right there. Yeah, I'm going back on the wagon. I'm not doing that again. That was a bad
spells
decision,
a good time.
It was great, man. So I'll remove that one right there. And I got some pictures here that I can add here. So I'm going to remove that from studio, add another one right here. And then we can just kind of go over it. I've always wanted to share this with like you and Oz, and share like the beauty of certain things that I see when I'm out in the woods, right? Like, let's take a look at this one right here. See if that's anything. Hopefully it's not an ups. Oh, that's Tyler Robinson. That was last time. Let's get this on real quick. I got some more stuff. Whoa, I don't got no videos. So having to do this by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of work, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on your toes. And like Mia knows what I'm talking about. Mia the other day, like there was some stuff going on with her where her co-host, or the person who led her show, who was another person that was on my show, on my podcast, was having some technical issues. And then all of a sudden she had technical issues. Like, if it's going to be catastrophic, it's going to be catastrophic. It always does. Yep. But, here's a picture of the woods here. If I can get some more here, I'd like to, you're going to watch me be a little distracted as I start to look for some of these pictures here, because I wanted to show everybody the river.
I know all about it.
Yeah. So let's save this image. Boom. Got to get that up there. Bam. Okay.
So what is there anything special about this picture
This is the Idaho National Forest. This is my friend's property. He decided he was going to go and buy property out here in the Idaho National Forest. It's maybe about 30 miles away from a place called Sandpoint, Idaho. So this is out in Idaho, and it goes all the way up into Canada. This whole stretch of rainforest and trees and stuff. But this place, like, I've heard stories, right, like from people that have encountered Sasquatches and Bigfoot hunters, those kind of things. They say when it gets quiet that you should be extra careful. And there's one thing about this place. There's no birds chirping. There's insects going on. But this place is quiet, man. So I'm going to add it again just to everyone show this place. Come on, go on there. Go on there. No, don't remove it. So I did. Add to stage. Boom. There's that one. So that was me driving by. Of course, I didn't really take a lot of pictures, but I tried to on my way out. And I'll tell you something, like, here's the river. This is going across a bridge. Right there. This is, like, you can see this guardrail down below that's kind of rusty, that little rusty line down below. That's the bridge. There's, like, an old, like, train trestle. They converted into a bridge. And this is the river that goes all the way up into his property. And there's, like, pools of water, right? Like, where you can just go be submerged. I'm not a fan of cold water, though. I really am not. But I managed to get myself somewhat submerged.
So good for you.
I don't know.
Just your feet.
I don't like the cold, man. I just don't. I got genitals that hang out. Yeah, I'm not.
Oh boy.
It gets too cold. It gets too cold.
Well, it would sure wake you up after a bit of drinking.
Well, yeah, I mean, I did, and I like it was. I don't want to. I'm going back. I'm not doing that again, dude. That was my friend talked me into it, and it was my decision, and then I later regretted it. So
yeah. Well, it happens. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's really hard to get. Yeah, right. You're right, Mia. It is really hard to get into cold water. It is. Like, I mean, we're talking like glacier cold water. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing that was out there, like, we've been having fires out here, right? It looks like something was going on with Lawrence real quick. So we've had fires out here. There you are. You're back. Cool. Let's give the crowd loves that one. They sure do. I'm not using a lot of effects today because there's
fire.
You know, it's a lot of multitasking. Thank you, audience. Thank you, phantom audience from the small corner of the multiverse.
Yeah, thank you for your patience.
And, yeah, so I also forgot to turn on my... a lot of things you got to figure out while you're here. So I like my background ambience here. Get that up here real quick. There we go. There we go. Just to get my little signature in. All right. So, yeah, there's... it was really beautiful, but it's also hot as hell, right? We've had wildfires and lots of fires from Canada and parts of Idaho. For those that are going to be living in the American Southwest, it looks like you're looking at 124 with this heat dome that's going over. I like the hardest part was getting up in the morning, where it was cold. And then within an hour, about 8 o'clock, like, I was roasting, man. I was roasting. It was hot. I couldn't deal with it. I don't think I really got home until about 2 p.m. my time. And then I had to go unload, right? And this is our campsite right here. This is the campsite, part of the campsite where we were at. That was kind of a makeshift campsite. You can see we made our little fire pit. That log is used for sitting, and of course our cutting table. There's my various tiki torches, and it's all, when you go out to the woods, it's like trial and error with certain things, right? Like, yeah, I know about California there, Mia. Like, I was spoiled when I lived out there too, but as soon as you get into these dense rainforests, it's something else. But my heart still is in the deserts of California, and the high chaparral and the granite rocks and the mountains that are out there of Southern California. But the one thing that worked the most, and I recommend this to anybody, especially when you're going out in the deep woods of Idaho or Washington State, is I brought tiki torches, and like up to my wife's, issues with me packing a bunch of stuff that I don't need, or my friends doing though at the same time. Like the one thing that works is these tiki torches, and they have citronella oil, right? That you can burn. And we put a perimeter around the camp, and there was not even one insect around us. And previous to me going up there, like I guess my friends were getting bit up. Like he had like 12 different like welts from mosquitoes and all that kind of stuff. So they're brave up here, bro. They're brave. And so I just filling the time with some content. So let's talk about what got you into podcasting, man. What got you into podcasting, and how long have you been a podcaster?
Good question. Well, I think unconsciously it started very young, because I always was fooling around with cameras, and when I was somewhere in my teenage years, I don't know, 13 or something, my mother gave me a double cassette player, which I could play cassettes, but could also record. So many times I just talked into little tapes, and it always came back unconsciously. I always bought a video camera, a video 8 camera, or before all the vlog cameras and everything we have now. And and then suddenly, like 6 years ago or something, was during the whole scandemic was going on. I was out of a job for a while, and then I thought, I always wanted to do some sort of podcast, but I didn't know what to do. So I thought, what can I do? Well, I can read an article, and I can play a video clip. So that's what I started doing. I did pre-records first, and I did that like maybe 10 episodes, and then and then sorry, it's getting.
Well, it's okay. It's how dark matters.
I did 10 episodes, and then I had to go back to work. So, and then like a half a year later, again the same situation, no work, and then I started again. Then I found Podbean, and then I actually started, and I stayed on Podbean until this year, and just doing podcasts, and trying to get used to it, because it's, in the beginning you think, oh cool, I can do a live show, but then when you're actually live, you're a little bit like, oh shit, I'm live, what am I going to do now? So it took me a while. It took me a good 2 years to get a bit comfortable, and then now I'm actually doing this. I'm going YouTube and video, so slowly got into it. But generally it was mainly also because of the political situation, and you think, like many people, you want to do something, so what can you do? So you start to share all your information that you can find, and then now I'm at the point where I think it becomes, it's not pointless, but it's like, okay, people know it now. If you don't know it, then it's up to you. You can find all the information. It's not so hard to figure it out anymore.
There is a thing called too much information, right? Like I wish sometimes I wish I could just be retarded, not care. I feel like that's enlightenment. But the thing is like you start to go down these dark, like different pathways, right? Like they're all puzzles that we can't solve. So we get interested in the theory and conjecture of these different things to try to find meaning to them. And especially if you've had profound experiences like myself and others, we start to go down the little rabbit holes. But the thing about rabbit holes is the further you dig, I found out the more of a skeptic you become. Not saying that I don't believe in things that have affected my reality personally, or that I don't believe other stories, but at the same time, I've always said this: extraordinary like exclamations of how things are require extraordinary proof at times, right? So I went from believer to kind of in the middle of the line, right? And that's where I am now. But with politics, that's another puzzle, right? That's a puzzle like a Rubik's Cube. You may never be able to solve it, but you're always going to be emotional. And then there's things beyond our control, like as we've started to notice with like a lot of, especially probably you in Europe, is that the, tyranny's right in our face now, right? I mean, there is no real side. That was the illusion. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, now it has become quite obvious to me when I started catching on to it in 2000. 2006 somewhere, 2007. For me, it started because they were trying to build one ground law for the whole of Europe, and everybody had to vote on it. And most countries said yes. Some people didn't even ask them; they just said yes. And then they asked the Dutch people. They put it to a vote, and they said no. And the French said no, so they had to stop it and do it again, make a new one. And then they made a new one, and they didn't ask us anymore. They just did it. So then I started thinking like, I thought we had something to say, but apparently not. So
Yeah.
then I kind of woke up and started to look into all this stuff and listen to David Icke and whatever, all kinds of things. And until I sort of, I'm not going to say I figured it all out, but nobody really does. But you can sort of look at it and see that it's clearly doesn't work anymore. It's so much in your face now. It's all against people. It's all following the agenda, because there's a clear agenda, agenda 2030, agenda 2021, and then of course agenda 2030, and that's just a fact. You just have to read between the lines what they are saying. That's all, and then you see it all come to pass. So those are things you can look at for yourself, but then you have to deal with mind control. And what I've learned now, where I'm now in my life, at the point where I realize what we need to do is move beyond our conditioning, because that's the main problem. We are conditioned, and it cannot be otherwise, because when we come into this world, you cannot help but being conditioned. It's not always that your parents mean bad or something, but they also been conditioned, and then through the society, and then through religions and all kinds of things. So the trick is to move beyond that conditioning, and there is various methods to do it. I know of two, and that's what I'm working on. You have to get beyond it, because society is not going to get better. The outside world is not going to change it for us. We created the outside world, and it's not going to change. It's only going to change if we truly change. But then there's another dilemma. You think that 6 billion people are going to change overnight? It's not going to happen. So,
well, I mean, you hear a lot about it in like either New Age or like spiritualities about the awakening, right? And I think my awakening felt very dark. Like just the world from what I thought it was, what you would consider like the naivete of the rose-colored glasses, right, where everything is beautiful and whatnot. And then when you have the awakening and you start to see like that it's not, that illusion's gone, right? That's the part that starts to take you down even further deep. For a long time, I've had to learn like not to get emotionally invested in anything. I've had to learn the subtle art of not giving a shit. There are certain things I can control only 2 miles around me. That's it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like it tends to be a focus, I think, that keeps you away from bettering yourself and into like the mind virus of the fear porn aspect of it, right? Like there's always going to be something new that you got to be scared of, you got to be afraid, you got to be worried,
Yeah.
you got to be startled, and like like there's a thing, I think that there's an overdose of fear that can happen to somebody. I think that's what also led to me waking up even further and getting away from the naivete of certain things, or certain issues, or certain politics, or whatever. And I definitely believe that like it's there to keep you emotional to the point where you stop paying attention to the self. Like the most important, I think it's not being selfish. It's the internalization of getting what's right here first, right? And then having that ability to see through it, and those are the tests I think that go through it. I think the world is a weird spiritual place. And I've had tests that came before me that seemed to come out of a story, right? Or something that I read in a book. But at the times that I didn't pay attention to, or I wasn't self-aware of it, I just would have thought it was some sort of random drama. But now it's like, it's not about pass or fail. Like if you fail that test, whatever that may be, it just comes back again until you relearn it, right? So I don't know, man. When it came to a lot of these topics, man, it just kind of for me it was because I was pretty liberal growing up. That was my indoctrination. I was also, at one point in my life, I was raised Baptist Christian up until I was 16, and then I got angsty and fuck the church, fuck all this shit. And then, for the 80s, it was punk rock and alternative scenes and that kind of stuff. And, it kind of led into that. But eventually I started having experiences, and those experiences, I think I was halfway in because I didn't sleep very well for a long time. And so I was always halfway there with my experiences, no matter how profound they were, but they ended up shaping me. And then when I actually got good sleep all of a sudden, then I was like a newborn, right? Like all the emotions that were suppressed, right? Like kind of came up. I didn't know how to deal with them or process them. It took me years, like almost a decade, just to figure it out and process it. At that point, like, that's when I woke up, was when there were 2016, when there was just protests going on, for shootings and anti-cop stuff going on, and there was rioting going on, and there was all this kind of stuff. And so, my awakening call was the beginning of that, which was all the craziness that was happening. So I think that's what kind of led me to you got to be kind of apathetic about it. There's just certain things you can control, certain things you can't, right? So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the end, it comes down to, at least as I see it, through seeing, to really being here and truly seeing what's going on. Really seeing it, not just from a newspaper or from the television, but really for yourself, being in the moment and really seeing it, being really aware of it, and that makes a difference. But yeah, I can imagine it takes usually a long time emotionally. And now you understand why they put so much fear on you, because it's the brain. If you cannot handle all this information, it will, like I said in the beginning, it will suddenly you will get pain in your knee and you will go to the doctor and they can't find anything and it will give you pills. But it's not that part of your body. It's the emotions that have no way, you cannot deal with them. So that stress of not dealing with it is the brain doing it, giving you pain in your knee or in your arm or in your elbow or in your shoulder. And even if they take X-ray pictures of it, Dr. Sarno said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a disc, bulged disc or something. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with it. It's the brain doing it. So, and that's not for all cases. About,
like big pharma and pharmaceuticals, right?
They of course they play a part in it. You don't have the pharmaceutical commercials like we do here in the United States, but we're constantly, if you ever turn on the telly, you'll be seeing non-stop pharmaceutical stuff. You got a pain here, you got something you like, you feeling crappy, here, take this. Weight loss, here you go. You got some sort of autoimmune deficiency syndrome, oh, then there you go, here's a shot for you. Yeah, exactly.
And I kind of feel like we're talking to Maxim Furek about psychedelics, but I just feel this, man. MK Ultra, right? I think that they experimented with psychedelics on people and in children and trying to break them down, but those studies, I think, led to like a lot of these drugs that are out here right now. And it kind of feels like trying to reinsert you as a good citizen because you're a little too weird for society or what society deems you to be, right? But it's also a way, like a lot of the same stuff that's in these pharmaceutical mental health drugs, MOI inhibitors, that's the same stuff that's in some of these psychedelic drugs, right? But you don't get the trip, and they sold it as a cure. When they tried to get me on medications, they told me that I had the same chemicals going through my brain as a woman on her period. Turned out it wasn't. It turned out I had trauma that I needed to deal with, just like you're saying right now with traumas and different things that affect the body. I had to learn how to go and find within inside of myself how to deal with those traumas and come to terms with them, right?
Yeah,
own
absolutely.
Everything. Own everything. The good, the bad. You did it. If you did it right or you did it wrong, you got to own it up. So. Yeah. So
and also,
go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. What I was talking about, because it's a little bit complex, but he was actually talking about chronic problems. Not, I mean, you can have pain. Like if I bump my knee into something, I have pain a day or something. We're not talking about that. I mean, that's normal. You know, if you in a car accident and you have pain, that's all normal. That's not just in your brain. That's normal, but that's thing that goes away. It takes a day, a week, or a month. It goes away. Where he was talking about chronic problems where you're constantly in constant pain and there's no explanation. So, and that's usually the brain and the traumas and the emotions you have to deal with and get out of. And and there's ways to do it. Luckily now there's ways we can do it. So that's the positive thing. But anyway, you wanted to move on, so.
Well, I don't want to move on. I mean, I invited you here to speak, and I'm here blabbing away,
Right.
like fill it up with content.
Well, I also wanted to say, to stick a bit on the UFO topic, I was listening to the Michael Deacon program, a really great show. I love his shows, and I think it was his last or forelast show, was with this Italian guy, and he was. I always had this feeling, and he was sort of. Proving my point that all these people in that contact in the desert is complete, overtaken. You know, all these people that are there, they're purely there to put out to control the narrative. So you have all these people.
Well, there's that too. Yeah,
like
there is definitely that.
George Knapp and all these guys. I forgot their names now. Jeremy Corbell. Yeah, they're all.
Elizondo.
He said no.
Yeah.
As you look at their ties, they're all there just to control the narrative. They're not going to tell you any real truth.
Well, this is my
Stephen
thing.
Greer.
Okay, if there is something, there's one right there. Okay, if you're gonna like if the CE5 protocols work for you, cool. You're summoning some shit, but it kind of feels like when I read about the stuff on my shelf here, there's a lot of like streamlined occult stuff going on there. And to think that all entities are good, like that's Stephen Greer's concept of it, that they're like angels that are coming to go and visit people. But I think that, I've had experiences with the good and the bad, right? But the main thing is, I think that, like we were talking about the Tic Tac UFO, right? Which is the one off of near Catalina off the coast of San Diego.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I didn't get to mention this to Maxim Furek because, he had limited time. But there's this thing they found that's called aerogel, and there's this long belief that the Tic Tac was a drone that we created using this aerogel stuff, a very highly thermic, like anti-thermic, like it cools heat, and you could literally make balloons out of this aerogel, right? Like, so you have a very high-speed drone that can go faster than what most would say. But also, not only does the military frequently do their drills there, but there's also intelligence, there's all different kinds of things going on in that part of the coast, like all the time. And I think some of it, because this is like, if you paid attention, and I've been paying attention, okay, but if you go back, I like the historical aspect of the UFO thing myself. Not only because of my experiences, but just to see both sides of all of it, right? And one of the things you see is that in the early forms of the 1950s with this UFO stuff, like there was definitely like a contactee movement that was very like almost religious about it. And today you probably call them like the New Age aspect of the UFO community, right? And that's what I thought Stephen Greer was trying to do. I thought he was trying to start like a non-theistic, like spiritual religion based on, transcendental meditation. Nothing wrong with that, but it's the way you did it. And my main thing is, like, for all of you guys, if there's this threat or there's this thing that is detrimental for all of us to know about humanity, why can't you put aside your differences and work together and try to figure this out instead of having like this rock star image? I got to be the one, and not try to come together. But I definitely think that there's something about this that is trying to get the military-industrial complex to save face. And I think a lot of the stuff we see right now, I'm not discounting people's experiences. I've had some odd ones myself, but I think a lot of this could be our own tech, and it's a lot of it could be very well, like, I call it the Iron Man moment, right? Did you ever watch the movie Iron Man?
I might have seen bits and pieces of it, but yeah.
Well, so anyway, this guy builds a suit of armor, right? and it's a power armor.
Yeah.
First of its kind, you know. He builds a better version of it, right? And then he makes his debut for the whole world to see, right? I kind of feel like that Tic Tac UFO, which a lot of people are speculating was Lockheed Martin in design and what it was, and maybe a psychological operation on the military right there, but also one against our adversaries, right? You publicize something, you claim that it's not yours when it could really well be yours, and then your adversaries think that there's this anomalous UFO threat coming, or the belief in such. And so that's kind of like the Iron Man moment. It's the moment that Tony Stark got into his new suit of power armor and then started blasting people or flying through the sky, you know, where that tech became a reality, right? At that moment, that's kind of how I see it. Like, I know I'm using pop culture references, but, you know, but I'm not saying that there isn't, you know, different things. There are like some, I mean, the most interesting cases came out in the 1950s, 1960s. If you look at those cases, the ones they tried to debunk and like watch any documentaries from the 1960s about UFOs, right? You'll see videos that look almost exactly the same as what we're seeing today, from cigar shapes to orbs, from people speculating it, from just normal people who have seen it. And so I think there's something, maybe it's a mixture of both, but there's definitely that arm of the intelligence community that likes to use this to cover up for what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we were speculating on last week was how UAP is in the NDAA and also this merger with Israel, with our military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which actually just recently passed the House right now. So for those who aren't
What a surprise.
Yeah, for those not paying attention,
Yeah.
we're about to merge our military and do secret funding to a genocidal nation that wants to rule the world. But I think what they'll do is they'll use it and they'll say, hey, you know, the American people, they'll get some outrage for it. It's one of those bills that we really don't get a chance to vote for. We don't get a chance to vote where they're going to put the money. But since 2018, man, we have not passed an audit in the Pentagon. They just go, I don't know where the money went, and trillions of billions of dollars. And I think it's going to be kind of used as a cover for that for right now. It's just my opinion. I don't know what your thoughts on that one.
Could very well be, yeah. I mean, it looks like they're gonna just take over that whole. They pretty much already seem to have controlled most of America, but now with this merger, it's pretty much like, yeah, now they can even better control the populace if they want to, and yeah, it's gonna look pretty bad.
Now we got cameras going up, and I guess that's a psyop too, like hate FLIR cameras, but there's some other camera that's even worse, you know. Like you've had in Europe, there, like a lot of that stuff is, you know, surveillance all over the place, especially like England, right?
Yeah, Netherlands too. We are also here, specifically Amsterdam, because they're very much ahead. Because if you go to a supermarket now, there's almost everywhere self-scans, and you know, it's like going so rapidly here. Everybody's paying with their phone, and you know, it's the Netherlands is really the country where this is unrolling the quickest, because even our neighbors, Germany and Belgium, are taking it a little bit more easy. They still pay a lot with cash, but here everybody's going, yeah, pay with card, pay with phone, and hop. And
biometric scanning, that's kind of a thing I heard that's coming to Europe. Yeah.
Yep, it's it's going pretty quickly now. Yeah, true. It's and then of course the European Union with all their rules that they're going to put through. Now they're going to be able to look into your Telegram account and into your WhatsApp account, which I think they could already do it, but now it's more legal. And they're gonna any little bit of privacy you have is gone. It's really gone. It's like you gotta completely unplug from all this stuff. And the internet itself, as great as it is that we can do this, I'm getting a little bit more and more disgusted with it. It's really a horrible place to hang around most of the time now. It's sad.
I have to agree with you. I'm a podcaster and I loathe social media. I really do. I like doing something out of the act of creation, making something like this that's magical with effects and all this kind of stuff. but like I have a hard time. I used to want it when I was younger, like when I was in bands and playing music, and I just wanted to be out there. I wanted to be known, right?
Yeah.
And now, like, I don't care. Like, if for me, like, I've had to redevelop that. Both of us have had to redefine ourselves from going to Podbeam and having a significant following and then having to start over. You have to kind of repeat yourself. It's not about the people that are listening. If they listen, that's cool. If people tune in, they like your show, cool. Eventually it will happen, but don't think about the people that are coming to watch your show. You just do the show, right? And that's what I do. But yeah, it makes me a little nervous at times, like especially like when it comes to like digital fingerprints and like this idea of that people don't have the ability to redeem themselves in any way or change who they are, or we've lost the ability to forgive one another. Like we have to bring up anything bad that everyone, some of them deserve it. They deserve it, but it is what it is. But,
again, that was my point also, to go past your conditioning, and then you can do it. But it takes a bit of self-work, and that's not everybody wants to do that, and or they they have other priorities. But it was interesting what you said, that this idea that if the world is under threat, everybody will come together. It's not true. It's not going to happen. Even if everybody feels they're under threat, they're going to protect themselves. They're not going to say, I think we have a problem in.
Try. I think there'll be people that will try.
Yeah, sure. Of course, there'll be some people. Yeah.
You got to go through a dark age before you go to the golden age, right?
Yeah.
And people have to decide that they don't want to. They want to stand up and they don't want to deal with that anymore, right? But unless it's the perfect storm for all of us right now. I mean, even in Europe, everything's divided, right? It's the same here. It's like divide and conquer, right? While we're all fighting each other, data centers are being put up, more cameras.
True. I mean, the
wars that we didn't vote for or want to be in.
True. I mean, the state of the world is affecting us all. Doesn't matter where you live. It's going to be pretty bad for everyone if this even goes further. If we get to Agenda 2030 in the end, which they are now rapidly working on. But then again, we might hope that Project Looking Glass is right, where they said that after a certain date, whatever you do, the result will be the same. The outcome will be the same. So
convergence of all realities. That's the main subject of that thing, right? Like, no matter how they try to run it through the Project Looking Glass or like through the AI or model or whatever, the quantum computer, it all started to go into one line where everything converges. That's weird. That's weird.
I mean, I'm not here waiting for a savior. I don't believe a savior will come. I don't think anybody will come to help us. I don't believe that. But I do hope that maybe through a vibrational shift, things can change. Because we are responding to these kind of signals. We are sensitive to vibration. So that's the only way I could see how we can sort of turn mankind into a more uplifting state. You can do it yourself also, obviously, but like I said, not the whole world's going to do that. So like David Icke talked about, the truth vibrations coming down, and but something like that through.
It's kind of a mind virus in a way. It's all kind of leading us. They want to lead us into a world where we're like silicone-based life forms that they can program and turn off if they want to, right? That's kind of what I think they're trying to do, and maybe that's the counter evil kind of put upon us to stop from that vibration hitting us or whatever. I don't know.
I think that it seems like the whole UFO agenda is kind of like I get a very dark feeling from it. It's more going to be used as some sort of dark energy going to try to pull them through and or make these whatever it is these beings look like. But it's actually more. It's not even about other beings. It's more about taking your mind, taking your consciousness, and using that and putting that into a machine. Because practically they could already do it. They can take your voice, they can take your face, they can make a robot who looks like you. They can take all your knowledge, put it in the robot, and there you have a copy of MoJoe. Or you have a copy of me. It's like, you can already do it. Like, and I think that's what it's more about, rather than there's aliens coming down and through this kind of sinister technologies, they can really hurt mankind really badly. So if that's allowed to happen, then we're really in for a horrible time, to put it
buckle
mildly.
up. But I think that people are starting to wake up. One of the things I've noticed that has been really
I should be awake right now.
No, well, they're starting to, left and right are coming together based on these data centers.
Yeah, that's good.
They're coming together with the FLIR AI cameras. Like, they're coming together for these things, and I think that's the start of it. Like, for a long time, people were really scared to speak up, but I think they're going to try. Whoever it is, the powers that be that are in control, they're going to continue to try to censor us. They're going to continue. I think what they're hoping for is that AI will get so realistic that we'll just believe whatever we see, right? Without trying to take it, without trying to scrutinize it or anything like that. But we'll see that. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to thank Lawrence for coming on our show. The crowd loves that one. As I'm able right now to play some effects.
Lucky.
So this has been the Of Dark Matters podcast. Settle down. Okay. This has been the Of Dark Matters podcast. I'm here with Lawrence of the Netherlands, and we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of plug-in here, and I'm going to go ahead and let you plug away, my friend, of what you do. Shamelessly plug, and then I'll do it myself. So here we go. Lawrence, plug away.
All right. Well, since I'm here and since I've started to do my own shows, which is still under construction because I have to find people to come to my show to talk to, and I have a few names, and I will bring back Vinny Eastwood. I'm in contact with him. He's come back soon. So yeah, I do The World Gone Mad. I now put it also on YouTube. It is under, I have 2 channels, so I think it was under Lawrence Free. If you look that up, that's where The World Gone Mad is. And then for the Rock Archives, which is my main passion, but it takes a bit of work. I did one show now with a guest about the Doors. That was great. And that is also on YouTube, but under other name. I think that's under Lawrence of the Netherlands. Or you type the Rock Archives, you'll also find it on YouTube. And it will take time, but it is going. But I want to do it every week one, but yeah, I'm still working on it. So those are the 2 things you can check out if you're interested, of course. The Rock Archives and The World Gone Mad. The World Gone Mad was geopolitics. There's a little bit of that, but it's a mix of things that are interesting historically or whatever. So many different things are on that channel now. So that's pretty much it.
And let's see here. I'm going to be on your show. Is it August that we're doing the show?
Yeah, the 9th. Yeah, 9th of August. Yeah.
9th of August, Sunday the 9th, and then we're going to have him on again. Just Lawrence getting interviewed and shooting the turd, as they say in the old language, the Queen's English, I guess. No, I just made that up. Anyway, I'm MoJoe the Mad. Welcome and thank you for all being here. Thank you, Mia Starfire, for being here the whole time. Thank you for being in the audience. Thank you, Lawrence, for coming on the show and being in the audience. Thank you, Maxim Furek. Okay, so this show, Of Dark Matters, with MoJoe the Mad and Dr.Clutch, is on every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on SoundCloud under MoJoe the Mad and the Drama Llama Ding Dongs, which was my old music and skits that I did for my previous podcasts and ads that I made. Electronic early music that I did and some heavy rock and roll. And then I'm also on the SoundCloud under Please Stand By, where I was the co-host and Dr.Clutch was the host. I was his Ed McMahon, so to speak. You can find episodes there from that incarnation. You can also find our old Podbeam episodes on Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify. You look me up on the internet, I'm probably everywhere. You can find me on Substack under MoJoe the Mad. You can find me on Instagram under the Of Dark Matters podcast and MoJoe the Mad. You can find me on Telegram, although it is sort of a private channel. But if you want to join us, PM me. let me know. Hey, I want to join your Telegram channel. I want to join in the creation process and a little bit of MoJoe angst. You can find me also on Facebook under MoJoe the Mad, and you can find me also the Of Dark Matters podcast there. What else would I like to plug? I like to plug the Lebanon Market. My friend who works there, he came from Lebanon to start a market here up in Spokane. It's right off Division. If you go there, you'll be able to eat some of the best sandwiches you've ever had in your life. I'd also like to thank Vien Dong for making Vietnamese food that is so good. I was missing Vietnamese food in San Diego, and there wasn't a place up here at one point that I thought would have it, and Vien Dong is a good place to go eat. So if you're in the area of Freya, look it up. Come out to Spokane, have some Vietnamese food. Let's see here. What else? I want to plug peace, getting along, trying to talk, civil conversation, and freedom of speech. I think freedom of speech is paramount. We have to demand it. And we also have to see past the left-right paradigm of things. We're all a little bit liberal, we're all a little bit conservative, but we're all human beings. And whether we come from the Netherlands, or we come from America, or we come from wherever else, the one thing that we can do is communicate with each other and learn how to talk. And I hope to provide this as long as I can while I'm on this show. And as long as this show is on the air, I will continue to speak my mind. I will continue to talk about things that make people a little uncomfortable, make you think. You don't have to agree with me. I don't expect people to agree with me. I don't expect people to see eye to eye with me. But I'll provide this space, this neutral territory, the Switzerland, so to speak.
A safe space.
A safe space, an actual safe space here on the internet.
Yeah.
So without further ado, everybody, thank you for being here today. Those that are listening in now and those that are going to be listening in later or want to listen in later, look out for some shorts we're going to be doing, and I got to find out what's going on with Clutch. Hopefully he's all right. And we all wish you the best, Clutch, that you can help figure this out. We'll be on next week. Next week we'll be on with Wonder Bob. We're going to have it's going to be, I believe, August. Let's see here. Let's see what day of August that is. I'll look it up since I got the time, and I'm just sitting here promoting, and I like to promote this show because you know what? Wonder Bob, I went on Coley's show with Wonder Bob. He's kind of a shaman. He's kind of a plant medicine guy. He's also a guy that's an artist who's had, some interesting communications with different things, different beings, different planets. He's able to move his mind into different locations. We're talking like Merlin. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wonder Bob. So let's take a look at when Wonder Bob is on here as I totally stall for time. Here we go. Wonder Bob. Wonder Bob's going to be on August 1st, next Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, that's a
Not
guest.
a show to be missed. Yeah, he's great. I love Wonder Bob. So without further ado, everybody, thank you for listening in. I'm going to go ahead and end this one. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next Saturday. Have a good night.
Thank you.
all of us here at the Of Dark Matters podcast would like to thank all of our listeners that tune in to us every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening and good night. This has been a production of MoJoe Mojito Production. Production.